There's a lot of people that are concerned about AI and replacing jobs and things. We implemented AI in our business as soon as we could.
Yep.
And what we've done is work very hard to identify two core systems that help us to have maximum efficiency in the three conversions that I feel are most important in the mortgage business. And that's lead to 1003 completed, 1003 completed to qualified, and then qualified to committed.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Loan Officer Growth Podcast, the podcast that helps LOs grow your business and have more freedom. Really special guest today, Scottie Campbell, a friend of mine from, I don't know how many years, man, have we been friends?
It's been a little while, man. I think probably 2018. 2018, we probably initially met.
At one of the MMA events.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Well, Scottie's out of Georgetown, which is right outside Austin, Texas, right?
Yes, the fastest growing small town in the United States, supposedly.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
where I live, too. It's a beautiful town, man. We got a beautiful downtown square, and I built my house here on a little over an acre 4 years ago, and nice. They're putting in 6,000 homes around me right now.
Wow.
So, it's some population growth, no doubt.
That's crazy. Well, you are the CEO and founder of Waymaker Mortgage, right?
That's right.
So it's your company. Do you also produce yourself too?
I do. I strongly believe in leading from the front and coaching from the rear. And, one of the things that I've learned over the years is if I'm going to be relevant to help my loan officers and real estate agents grow, then I've got to be in the trenches as well. And we were just talking about that before we jumped on here.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I love that. And it's fun. It's fun. We were talking about that.
Yep.
How long did you open Waymaker?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the vision for this kind of came to life in 2019. And in early 2020, we partnered with a national mortgage bank to release the brand, which was like a DBA. And then we officially moved it into our own licensed entity in late 2022. And so we've just hit our 2-year mark as a fully operational mortgage brokerage. And now this year we became a correspondent lender. Very cool. The growth process has been fun, stretching, and I just love it.
Awesome. So what would you say is different? Like what's different now than before you opened?
Yeah. So I would say, right now, of course, it's a different time in the market. Anybody who's been in mortgage or real estate for more than about 6 months knows that these markets are shifting almost on a micro level. It can even be quarter by quarter. But, the biggest differentiator was I was a broker back when I started in my career 20 years ago. And I was a broker for several years and I loved it. And then I left the mortgage business for a little while, always stayed connected in real estate investing and things like that. But when I came back into mortgage full time, what I learned was everything had changed so dramatically that there was this very big gap between a broker, a retail lender, and then like a bank is somewhere kind of in the middle. Because you have some banks that are very, very conservative, think your big banks and, the Chases and Wells Fargos, they only want to do the 20% down 750 credit score borrower. Then you got your local banks and they want to serve more people. They need more assets under management. So they do more purpose driven mortgage lending and they broker. And then of course you've got your pure brokers and you've got your like independent mortgage banks. And for the first couple of years coming back into the business full time, I had to learn like, how can I serve the most people with the most efficiency? So, less time to manufacture a loan, maximum impact to get the most loans done. Right. And what I came to realize is, I just felt that the ability to bank and broker loans was it. But a lot of the retail models can be challenging. And, so this isn't like negative on anybody else's model. It's just this is what I've arrived at.
Right.
So we were mentioning 2020 real quick in the green room there. And it was the year of 2020 that I had this epiphany. Oh my gosh, I could get so much more lift if I didn't have to use the in-house underwriting. And I would have much less risk on the loans. So that's where I started to kind of formulate the plan. Let's move to the wholesale broker space. We have more choice. We have more ability. If I get flooded with 100 refinances in a month, which happened to me in 2020, which was amazing, and then I couldn't get them closed. Well, now I can spread them out among different lenders and I can get them closed more methodically. So I consider myself, and I teach our loan officers, we call ourselves independent mortgage advisors because we're not tied to sending a loan to any specific place, but we are able to help the consumer with their choice. And that's where our strength is.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you were talking about, why don't you elaborate and talk about what we talked about in the green room with the IT aspect of your business that you've kind of added.
Yeah. So, tech is a passion of mine. Ever since I got a hold of one of these guys, the iPhone, I realized in whatever that year was, 2008, maybe, I realized this thing is going to change the world. And I became very passionate about just understanding how technology is a lift for human touch. It's not a replacement. It's an augmentation of the human experience. And we're seeing that with AI now, right? Like there's a lot of people that are concerned about AI and replacing jobs and things like that. We implemented AI in our business as soon as we could.
Yeah.
And what we've done is work very hard to identify 2 core systems that help us to have maximum efficiency in the 3 conversions that I feel are most important in the mortgage business. And that's lead to 1003 completed, 1003 completed to qualified, and then qualified to committed. So we don't call it qualified to pre-approved. We call it qualified to committed at our company because we want to get commitment from that borrower that they are going to work with us. And there's times we don't get it, and that's okay. We have, a language pattern and a process built around that. But, I look at these metrics and I'm proud of them. Over 83% of the people that we qualify commit to working with us.
That's
and then
crazy.
It's just, it is. Yeah. And I'm proud of that. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But then it's just the process of helping them find a home or, are they working with the right real estate agent? Because it's been a little bit ugly out there in the market. And, we try to keep things very positive. We try to keep people very motivated. So we manage those 3 conversions through tech and human touch. High tech use. I was just teaching my team before we got on here how we need to leverage our technology to augment the human experience. It never replaces us.
Right.
So for example, we built a booking bot into our CRM. Every lead that comes into the CRM goes through an algorithmic process to find out how warm of a lead they are. And then the bot will reach out and talk to them. And they think it's a human. And that books appointments onto our team's calendars for conversations. That's all the bot does. It's just a conversation system because we want to have this. I want, Richard, you would work with me because you like me. At the end of the day, that's why you would work with me. Over 73% of borrowers who buy a home work with the loan officer their realtor recommended. So I think in the last few years, and this is a really long answer to your question, but what I've realized is it's no longer layups. When we get a referral from a realtor, it's no longer a layup because even though they're going to talk to us because they hopefully already trust their realtor, they're checking us on Google. They're probably using Search GPT now. And they're looking at their bank. They're looking at their, maybe they work for a big tech company that has an affiliate partnership with a mortgage company. Maybe they like the Rocket commercials because honestly, they're funny. Like, come on, like SoFi has great commercials. Rocket has great commercials. And again, back to the iPhone, everybody's living on their phone and everybody's in a money app. They're in Rocket Money or they're in Credit Sesame, they're in Credit Karma. So what we do is we leverage the technology to let the loan officer have less friction. That's all it comes down to. And that's been, we throw around the word algorithm, I think, very loosely in today's tech world. But that's literally been, we put together kind of an algorithm to figure out who's worth my time today. Who do I call today? So our systems will help a loan officer identify who to call today, but you're still going to make those calls. The phone is still your best friend. That's the only reason that I'm closing business in 2024 is because I'm still making phone calls.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love that. That's awesome. Especially setting appointments for you. That's so huge. Huge.
And, and that's with consumers. And we're doing that now with potential referral partners. So that's kind of in a pilot process. That most loan officers, mortgage advisors would say, I don't want a robot reaching out to a potential real estate agent because that could really kind of like mess with the experience. They could get frustrated. They could get, you know, they don't like that. It's spammy. Well, the reality is we've got to be visible. So they've got to know who we are. They have to see us on social. They have to see us on LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube. There's so much we got to manage. So again, we use that technology just to give a lift. And then, you know, Richard, you're an expert in virtual assistants. Using a VA to call and set appointments for you, and then augmenting that with some of the AI tools.
Right.
Cream of the crop. You can have a full calendar. And I believe a full calendar for a loan officer is 5 to 8 discovery appointments. I do mine on Zoom because I like to maximize my time. 15-minute discovery appointments. I want 5 to 8 of them a week. And I'm going to get a 50% show rate. And then over time, you know, I build up to roughly 2 referral partners a month that at least give me a try. And then it's up to me to maintain their trust and build that long-term relationship with them.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Because what I've noticed a transition with realtors lately, you know, with me jumping back in and doing some producing, is there is a portion of agents right now who would rather get a text than a phone call. They're busy, right? These are agents that are qualified, they're closing business. And they would there's a portion that would rather just get a text and, hey, let's schedule a meeting via text without even having to have a phone call with somebody. So, yeah.
They don't necessarily need the warm up like they once did.
Right.
Yeah. And especially folks that are, you know, it's interesting because now we have Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, and boomers all in the business.
Yep.
And you cannot look at a name on a production report or on a list. Like, your lists are awesome. I think I've bought 2 lists off of you over the years that have really helped me, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, you bet.
But I can't just look at that list anymore and say, okay, I'm going to text all these people and that's going to work. I'm going to call all these people and that's going to work. So it becomes that omni-channel approach to get them to at least raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm interested in a conversation with Richard. And by the way, man, I'm proud of you for jumping back in because that's not an easy thing to do. So a huge win for you. Congrats.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially my partner is my son. So that's awesome. It's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
What is there anything you're excited about that you're working on? What's your 2025 going to look like? Anything different?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is a great question. Thank you for asking that. Yes. My word for the year in 2025 is consistency. We're going to be ridiculously, unbelievably consistent in the things that we do. And we are going to stop trying new things without vetting them first. So I've had a full 2 years of building my company. And essentially, you know this, when you transition, you know, when you move companies, when you start something, whatever, in our business, there's a little bit of a lag. You know, there's kind of like a dive down and then a ramp back up.
Right.
And, you know, that first year was a lot of systems and just figuring stuff out, you know, and I was blessed to have a great team that stuck with me through it. But now we've really ironed it out. So it's time to just be consistent on what we know works. We are launching a couple of different programs to help develop leads and augment the process of getting referrals from our business referral partners. And so we're doing webinars for consumers, and we are offering the opportunity to help real estate agents bring more traffic into our ecosystem that we will help them convert through that webinar process. So we've built out a very cool system that allows the realtor to just publish a link. They could put their own marketing dollars behind it on Facebook or, you know, wherever they want to advertise it and drive traffic into that system. And then all of those leads are coded to them. And our team works them. And what that does is 2 things. Number one, we're going to have consumer direct leads developed from it that we hand back to our realtors. And when I have a realtor say, hey, Scottie, how do you dole out your lead opportunities? Well, very simply, those who contribute to what we're doing. Right. So I tell agents, if you want at-bat opportunities with new, fresh leads that we bring in, who don't have a realtor, then you've got to participate in our webinar stuff. You got to participate in our educational stuff. And quite frankly, just share. Like, just do your best to share. And then we're going to refer back out to you. And the second thing in that consistency pattern is really, really, really being tight with our same way every time process. It's no secret that the last couple of years have been kind of interesting in, I told you before, it's a have to, not a want to market.
Right.
So you end up with, okay, over here is this very unique, interesting non-QM situation. And over here is this really dirty, difficult FHA loan with 3 different borrowers and all these different things going on. And then over here in the middle, you got your conventional borrower who's moving because they have to for their job, but they're really frustrated that they're giving up their 275 for a 675 rate and, what have you. So it's been tough to like focus that consistent sales process. And, for me, I've just worked through that. And now we've decided on how we're going to do it. It's working. 83% of the folks that we meet with, so qualified people who we meet with and ask for the business, they commit to us.
Right.
And that's pretty good.
Very good.
I'm really proud of that. So it's really consistency in those two things, driving traffic and driving conversion. And then, for me personally, I am still working to add referral partners to my production. I'm bringing more folks onto my team to help with that production. And then I'm dedicating a certain chunk of my life to, we typically call it recruiting, but I would call it helping loan officers find home. Right. In reality, so it's a big portion of my time is going that direction. And that's a new thing for me because I've been more so focused on building systems and structures in the company. And I just love conversating with people, man. I love being out there in the wild talking to people. And it just feels very refreshing to be going into a year where we think the market's going to be a little more stable. The interest rates will come down a little bit. Even if they don't, people are more comfortable right now. People are taking action. And so consistency is going to drive our success in 2025.
Yeah, I love that word. That is everything, man.
It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It ain't easy.
Especially you're right.
Most salespeople being a deer and eye on the disc. We love change and we love to chase rabbits or squirrels or whatever, We're like, oh, look at that cool new tool, So just I was talking to a friend of both of ours, Tony Taylor, the other day, and we were just talking about how do we know what to lean into, what actually works. There's a term that we've used in the marketing animals for years, half-built bridges. And so that's been kind of my thing is what bridges am I going to finish out and what bridges have I started that I'm going to kill? So I'm like Elmer Fudd right now. I'm out there with the big gun in the cartoon and I'm just, I'm looking for stuff to kill that's killing my time and efficiency. And I recommend all loan officers do that. When you're going into your new year, decide what you're not going to do. Yes. Decide what you're going to say no to, because then you figure out what you're going to say yes to. You reverse engineer your success, do a business plan. There's a ton of great ones out there. Reach out to me or Richard if you need one. We've got them. Yep. But ultimately, you got to figure out what are you going to focus your attention on in 2025.
Yeah, it is. It's as important. I think everybody does to-do lists, even if it's just scratch on paper, just what am I going to do today, or using an app on their phone. Yeah. But it's just as important to have a not to-do list. What am I not going to do? What am I, especially like you said, going into the new year, what am I going to stop doing that's been wasting my time, or that's been, really not giving me the results that I thought I was going to get from it, but we continue to do it because we think we have to. So yeah, you hit that one spot on. Love it.
Yeah, I agree. I love it too, man. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to show you guys a book. It's called Get Past Your Past by a guy named Jason Van Ruler. This is a great book that I've been working through.
I'm going to write that one down.
Get Past Your Past, How Facing Your Broken Places Leads to True Connection. And so I'm not trying to get all like psychological or woo-woo with this. It's just the last couple of years have been tough for everybody who works in mortgage and real estate. So I think that going into the new year, the best gift we can give ourselves is, number one, give yourself a break. Like, learn how to not measure yourself against your locks and closings. Learn how to measure yourself against your successful activities that will lead to results.
Right.
The reality is 100 phone calls used to lead to a different metric a few years ago than it does today. And that's okay. But you got to make calls. You got to call the right people. You got to make the right connections, but you also got to get past your own past. And, the things that are holding us back are often right here in between the temples more than anything. And I've worked really hard on myself in 2024. And I'm thankful for that. My spirituality has grown, my ability to see myself in a better light, in a better position, has got me very excited and motivated for the new year. And that's where that word consistency came from, is okay, I've worked through a lot of tough stuff. Now I'm going to push into making that consistent. And then another book is Atomic Habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, my God, is that a good book?
Yes, definitely. That's an excellent, excellent book. So I cannot believe time has flown by so fast. We're going to have to get you on the pod again soon. So
you got me, man.
If you're willing
to keep this short enough. Oh, dude, I love these conversations, brother. I appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, anything I can do to help people. This industry has been such a gift to me and my family. Anything I can do to give back. Absolutely.
So for the last question, what words of encouragement do you have for LOs in these current times we're in?
I've got a couple of, that's okay. I'm going to try to drill this down into one, because I put the coaching hat on and, kind of like one-liners and quotes and whatever. I love Zig Ziglar and I love John Maxwell. Those two guys have so many pieces of wisdom and insight that over the years have impacted my life. So this was the first, I'm going to share two with you. This is the first Zig quote that I learned when I was like 18. I went to a sales summit that he was doing when I first got into mortgage. You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. So yeah, you were born to be a winner, but in order for that to actually manifest and take place, you got to plan, you got to prepare, and you got to expect. So every day, get the mind right and expect to win.
Yeah. I think
and then for those,
for
those who haven't started something they know they need to start, right? Like it could be phone calls. It could be hiring a remote VA assistant that is going to give you the lift. I mean, some of us just quite frankly don't do well hearing no. I don't book my own appointments because I don't like hearing no. It doesn't make me feel good. So if I'm going to make a bunch of phone calls to book appointments for myself to talk to a referral partner, it doesn't work out well. And that's where using VAs and using, other staff has really augmented that for me. Another Zig quote: you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you've been feeling inside, it's like, I know I got to do this. And I'm not talking about a half-built bridge or a piece of tech that's really just kind of candy. I'm talking about deep down inside in your gut, this will impact my business. Gary Keller talks about the one thing, right? Like, what's that one thing, that one problem? If you solved it, it would solve a ton of other problems. That's the thing I'm talking about. You got to start that, and then you got to do it consistently. And that's how greatness is achieved.
Yep. Love it, man. Great parting words. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. It's been great chatting with you. And
so any LOs listening that are interested in having a chat with you, how can they get a hold of you?
Scottie with an IE, SCOTTIE, the letter C.com. So ScottieC.com. That's my virtual business card. It's got a link on there for my calendar. It's got contact info, all of that. ScottieC.com.
Love it. Love it. All right, brother. Talk to you soon. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you too, man. Thanks. Have a great day.